If you were trapped on the island of death, what would you do? You're going to be forced to find the elixir of life and will have to fight other prisoners and creatures with godlike powers and flesh-eating monsters in order to reach it. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the immortal Tensen in Hell's Paradise. This guy is going to be forced to face the most horrifying island gods in existence. Gabimaru has just been sentenced to death by his own town's warlord. He's a professional shinobi ninja who has been trained so well that he's almost impossible to kill. This executioner gets ready to chop his head off and brings his blade down hard, but then it breaks and everybody is shocked, including Gabimaru. He wants to die, but each time the village fails to kill him and he goes back to his cage after another failed day of death. There he starts to talk to this long-haired woman who had been sent to take his statement, and she also finds out that he was trying to leave the village and take his wife with him, but he was captured by the wife's village chief, and this lady thinks for some reason Gabimaru is lying. The next few days the village throws everything they have at him to try and kill him, burning him alive at the stake. Nope. Buried alive. Nope. Having his legs and privates get pulled apart by bulls and have him get ripped in half from the bottom up. Nope. Nothing works. However, this long-haired lady who was also at the executions notices Gabimaru's legs slightly resisting getting pulled apart. Later that night she goes to him and tells him that he claims he wants to die, but it almost seems like to her that he actually wants to live. Why does he not let himself die? And even Gabimaru has no idea what she's talking about. She then asks him again why he tried to leave the village, but just then this noble tells her to stop asking pointless questions. And then she finds out from one of the guards who Gabimaru really is. He's known as Gabimaru the Hollow, a monster that has killed many, many men. And his ninja clan is rumored to have all taken an elixir that has given them immortality, because that must be the reason why he can't die. Nothing they do can kill him. They also state that this elixir can be found in a mysterious place called Shinsenkyo. Later, Gabimaru is sent to this strange room, and he sees the long-haired woman from earlier. Out of options, the village has finally hired her to kill Gabimaru once and for all. He thinks they will fail once again, but the warlord then smiles. He sent for this woman named Sagiri, and she's not just a statement taker, but she's actually a Ronin executioner and belongs to the best executioner clan in Japan, the Yamada clan. She tells him that since he wants to die, she'll grant him his wish. And just then Gabimaru senses her power in a split second and subconsciously dodges her incoming attack, breaking out of his handcuffs. Sagiri asks him why he's trying to escape, and that's when he realizes that since his survival instinct is so strong, he must not actually want to die. She then tells him that she knows he lied about his wife, and that he was actually planning to escape this village and the ninja life with his wife, but he got captured by her father. Shocked that she figured this out, Gabimaru is about to attack her when she pulls out a letter that is going to solve all of his problems. She tells him that this contains a king's pardon and will allow anyone who owns this letter to be free. But in order to get this, there's one condition. He must go with her to a mysterious world known as Shinsenkyo, the land of no suffering, in order to find the elixir of immortality. This is the real reason why she is here. Okay, we've just been granted the opportunity of a lifetime. This is great. But if I was Gabimaru, I'd actually steal my freedom with Sagiri's hanko. Let me explain. I would only agree to go if Sagiri first sent an official letter stating to the shogun that I had agreed that I'm gonna go to the island, because that's going to buy me some time for what comes next. Once she confirms that the letter was sent to the shogun, I would then quickly kill her and then take the letter of the pardon as well as any money or anything else that she's got on her. And this is very important, because after that, I'm gonna go find my plain Jane wife, and then we're gonna spend the next few weeks trying to get out of here. I'm also going to send a second letter posing as Sagiri that not only did I find the elixir, but I found way more than I could carry, and I'm gonna need some extra time delivering it all the way back home. But in order to make the letter more convincing and more official, I'm gonna get extra creative on this part. Now, it's noted that the story takes place between 1603 to 1867, and the modernization of Japan didn't really occur until 1870. And this means that during this time period, only the rich and certain people of higher ranking had access to hanko, which basically means letter seals, or like a royal stamp. Only people in privileged positions were able to seal their letters using their own, their families, or their clan's very own personalized seal in order to prove that the letter was sent by them. Basically, kind of like a Twitter verified checkmark or Instagram, but that doesn't count anymore because now you can buy one. And because of this, it's very likely that Sagiri could very well be carrying her very own hanko seal belonging to her or her
her royal clan. Hint, hint, isn't that interesting? And with all of these professional letters, this is going to buy us a lot more time while I work on getting my wife back, getting both of us out of this country, and living a nice life somewhere on the beach somewhere. And this mythical paradise city is located in the southwestern sea, further than Ryukyu Kingdom, and the island has recently just been discovered. And this is where apparently the elixir of immortality is located. But there's one big problem. None of the explorers that they've sent to look for it have ever returned, except for one, a half-dead corpse filled with beautiful flowers. She has been sent by a king to recruit evil warriors capable of handling this threat. And if they retrieve the elixir and make it back alive, they will receive their freedom. This is the only way Gabimaru will ever be able to return to his wife, and so he accepts her offer. The two then leave the village of this angry warlord by using Gabimaru's ninja fire monk art. And then they set off to go and find the elixir of immortality. The next day, they get picked up by the king's men, and Gabimaru is taken to a meeting with the king, along with all the other most terrifying criminals of Japan. The Fat King announces that they are all here for the same reason, to find and bring back the elixir of immortality from this mysterious island in exchange for their freedom. But then he reveals only the person who hands him the elixir will be given their freedom, meaning all the criminals here will be forced to kill each other sooner or later. If the island doesn't kill them first, they get their blindfolds taken off, and one of the soldiers reveals the only person who has returned from the island, this flowered corpse. Returning from the trip, this man immediately started to become sick and soon lost his mind to this mysterious disease. This is what awaits them on their trip. And then this one six-pack stud of an idiot doesn't think that the deal is worth it and gets up to leave. But that's when his head gets chopped off by one of the executioners, and the prisoners quickly figure out what's really going on here. Since everybody here has been sentenced to death, what has changed? Nothing. If they don't go on this mission, they'll all be killed right here, right now. And they're not being sent alone. Oh no, no, no. Each prisoner is going to be escorted by a professional executor from the Yamada clan. Each one of these master swordsmen surrounding the prisoners will be assigned to them. They take out their swords and point it to the person they will be looking over. Sagiri points to Gabimaru. If the prisoners try anything, they will die. If they try to kill their escort and leave the island, they will die. If they return from the island without the elixir, they will not be allowed to board the return boat. In short, other than returning with the elixir, they will die. The king then says no time like the present and that their transport doesn't have enough seats, so I guess they need to make the group smaller. And they're all criminals, and they all quickly begin to figure out exactly what he means. And everybody begins to brutally murder each other, using whatever they have on hand, and turning each other into nasty shields of meat. Meanwhile, the king asks which one of these prisoners have extraordinary abilities, and his assistant points to these select few. Meanwhile, Sagiri's boss whispers to her that he doesn't think she has what it takes to kill the prisoners if they need to, and says while she's a good fighter, she's not a good warrior, because she is a woman. He thinks that as the royal daughter of this clan, she should go back to her palace, but she tells him, nah. A group of prisoners suddenly notice Gabimaru not fighting and challenge him, knowing they won't stop until they kill him. Gabimaru tells them that he must get back home to his wife and that he's sorry for what's about to happen next. Unleashing Hellstorm, he brutally slaughters everyone here, skinning their flesh, biting their necks. Real tasty stuff, and proves to everyone that he's as powerful as his legend suggests. The bloodbath then ends, as these remaining survivors are declared the official hunting party. The king then wishes them luck and tells them that they're heading to the land of paradise and that they shouldn't be afraid, but of course nobody believed that lie. Days later, they finally reach the mythical island. Sagiri is shocked that this place is real and thinks then of course the elixir must exist too. Entering this jungle-looking paradise, Gabimaru quickly gets out of his handcuffs, but she notices and tells him to put them back on, and he's like, what the frick, man? And he tells her, you know I can't fight as well with my hands tied. Come on, cut me a break. But she says nope, and she makes him put his handcuffs back on. We cannot go one more step any deeper into this island because of this. Look at this right here. Look at this mangrove tree frame. We can't go onto this island. I will explain. This chick is either really stupid or worst, a really talented liability at best. And this is why I'm going to focus on getting away from her, either by breaking free or separating or by murdering the shit out of her in case she tries to come after us, because she is a goody two-shoes and it's really annoying. And now that the liability is gone, we need to think strategically, because based on what we've seen, there's no point in finding the elixir for two reasons. One, we've seen what this forest is capable of earlier, and even though we don't know how it does it, it means we don't need to investigate and find out because, well, I want to live. Two, this forest is located based on what we know past the Ryukyu Kingdom, and if we compare this to on the map right here, it means very likely that this island is located within a subtropical zone of East China Sea, which I'm going to refer back to these mangrove trees right here because it further confirms my theory, as subtropical zones likely means low pressure environments and sudden changes in temperatures, and this basically means that this area is known for crazy dangerous high winds. And being in a subtropical zone means that we're likely going to encounter storms around the island the further we get away from the island. It's like you're trying to leave an island and then, oh, too late, you're in the center of the storm. Sucks to be you. This is why, strategically, I would probably kill Sagiri and wait for the others to find the elixir, and once they try to get back to the boats to head home, then I would kill them off, allowing us to steal the elixir and take a sip just in case we have a rough time on the seas, and that way we're not going to die because we're immortal. Gabimaru then gets ready to reply back to that stupid statement, but then his face gets smashed in by this prisoner, Hunter of the 100. Sagiri thinks he's dead, but he quickly gets back up, and he tells everybody that he just broke his neck, but he'll be fine, shocking everybody here, except Gabimaru. He then notices this prisoner not wearing handcuffs either, and whines about it to Sagiri. Curious herself, she looks to this prisoner's escort, but he says that nobody here gives a shit about any of the rules on this island, and makes fun of her for always being a goody two-shoes. He says there aren't any rules on this island. If his prisoner dies, he can just go back home, and he warns Sagiri that all of these prisoners cannot be trusted, because while they all try to kill each other, they could very easily turn on them and try to kill them as well, and all of it could happen before they even reach the elixir. Meanwhile, his prisoner challenges Gabimaru to a death match and says he's got time to reduce his competition. Annoyed about this side challenge, he quickly slaughters this guy in seconds and announces that they've wasted too much time already. And then Sagiri's co-worker tells her to watch her back because in a few hours, things are going to change. And he walks over and cuts his prisoner's head clean off and gets ready to leave the island. And that's when Gabimaru strikes and tries to kill Sagiri, but she quickly blocks him, and he tells her that he was trying to be merciful about it because she's only going to get in his way. And he quickly overpowers her and holds a sword to her neck, and everything within him is telling him to kill this woman, telling her that if his ninja clan reaches this island and finds the elixir before they do, it's all over. And she has no idea what he's talking about. And Gabimaru tries to kill her, but then he realizes he's not the same anymore. Ever since he met his wife, doesn't have it in him, and realized that he never wanted to kill. He never wanted this to be his life's work. And then he starts to get emotional and tells Sagiri that he must kill her so that he can get back home to his wife. But Sagiri then realizes he's just like her, a human. And then in just 5 anime seconds, they become all pally, and then they offer to work together to get out of here and join forces. But then they get surrounded by horrifying creatures that they've never seen before. This fish creature tries to attack, forcing these two to defend themselves, and more hordes of crazy monsters show up. And exactly, eerily enough, the same way as the Titans do in Attack on Titan. Knowing they're not going to survive much longer, Gabimaru activates his ninja Firemaster arts and slaughters these monsters one by one. Not paying attention though, and just like a typical anime girl damsel in distress situation, Sagiri gets caught in a trap. Oh, she's so stupid, forcing Gabimaru to rush over to save her, causing him to become exposed, and now he's going to die. But then he gets saved by some other criminals, and they introduce themselves as Yuzuriya of Keishu and her 2 escorts, Genji and this glasses guy. Knowing they have a better shot at survival as a group, Gabimaru says that they should work together and ignores Yuzuriya coming on to him again and again and again. It's really annoying. And then this glasses guy then says his prisoner got killed by Yuzuriya, so he decided to watch over her since she seems dangerous. But Sagiri thinks that this guy's just creeping out on her since he's wearing glasses. Reluctantly, everybody agrees to play fair for now and exchange information about what they've discovered about this terrifying place. From what they've seen, the bugs here have human-looking faces and are lethal, and their poison can cause hallucinations followed by a very quick and very painful death. Yuzuriya reveals that she already knows about all of this. Why? Oh, well, she did nothing. She just, kidnapped one of the prisoners and then tried out all of the bugs that she could find and used them on his tied-up body, horrifying Sagiri, and she passes out. Whoa, this is crazy. If we don't escape this situation right now, we might end up dying by snoo. Let me explain. We now have a ragtag group of weirdos that we cannot trust. Yuzuriya is so freaking good at her job that she somehow made Glasses Guy and Genji her toys. And staying here doesn't make sense, as it likely means that what just happened with those monsters is gonna happen again. Fighting them like that continuously is going to wear us down, where we should work on saving our energy trying to find the elixir. If I was them, I would first map out a new strategy consisting of us avoiding all conflict from the next time we get cornered by monsters. It's noted that the battle that we just faced, the monsters quickly surrounded us, and we were likely unevenly spaced out. And this means trying to escape between one of them still could have gotten us picked off by the others nearby, which is why the next time this happens, I'm going to instruct everybody to huddle in tightly together and wait for the larger monsters to encircle us in at a much closer range. Then from there, all of us would be able to sprint through their giant legs and use that opening as a means of escape, and also use the bigger monsters as shields, preventing the other ones from getting us because the bigger ones are already in the way. By avoiding fighting as much as possible, preserving our energy in order to try and find the elixir should be our first priority. And also we should try to get to higher ground and spot where the center of this island is, because the elixir will probably be located somewhere further in the island. Also, we gotta stay away from Yuzuria because she's crazy and she's coming onto us all the freaking time. Really annoying. If she's gonna put my head in a nasty headlock, yeah, no, I don't want to be there. Later, Sagiri wakes up and finds out from Genji that she was exposed to a toxic butterfly. She quickly gets up to look for her prisoner, but finds Gabimaru and the rest just chilling outside. They didn't go anywhere, and they think that they need to sort out all of their information beforehand before they continue to look for the elixir. Gabimaru says that while she was taking a nap, he looked around and couldn't find any elixir that looked like this picture that they got. And how the frig nuts would you be able to know what the elixir looks like? But poker face Gabimaru tells her nothing. He doesn't tell her that his psychotic village chief most likely had located it years ago. So he tells her that he was just, well, winging it, because that's what ninjas do. And Glasses Guy says the picture that they have of the elixir likely isn't even accurate, that maybe they should start looking at the island for clues instead. Because for one, who made the statues that they saw all around the island? Because finding this out could lead them to the elixir, or at least give them information about where to look. Sagiri then chimes in and says that even the bugs that she killed were weird. When she cut into them, she couldn't feel any organs inside them, and that they quickly realized that even the big monsters that they fought looked like half-baked gods. Too unrealistic to be natural, and too artificial to be a manifestation of a natural occurrence. And then Gabimaru has a crazy idea and says that a creature that lives without any organs is a clue to immortality. That means that this elixir might just be on this island. Genji then confronts Sagiri and tells her that she should go home to the mainland because she's the daughter of the royal Yamada clan. But she tells him again, nah. And later that night, Gabimaru and Sagiri bond over some cute, useless crap that I'm not gonna talk about. Why? Because they have no idea they're all about to get slaughtered. Because the very next day, Genji tells Sagiri that she's leaving whether she likes it or not, but she defies him again. And he calls her a bad girl and is about to punish her when she blocks him, steals his sword, but just then one of the prisoners appears from behind and tries to grab her. Genji quickly saves her by pushing her out of the way, but gets brutally injured. Sagiri's horrified and goes to Genji, but he tells her to run. But just then, Gabimaru super kicks this prisoner, and Sagiri says that they're up against the giant of Bizen. And Gabimaru notices this man's eyes are looking at them not like a human, but like an animal, eyeing up their prey. Gabimaru then analyzes his opponent, right as this monster throws a freaking tree, but he dodges. Gabimaru asks Yuzuria to help him out and use her ninja skills, but she says, nah, I like it up here and I love this show. You're doing great work, keep it up. Great, forcing Gabimaru to dodge all of his attacks, and he notices that this monster is not just big and strong, but terrifyingly quick. If those hands touch him, he's a dead man. He then uses his ninja art, Thunder Stones, and kicks some rocks right at him at a blistering speed, but nothing happens. He then uses a ninja art known as Flexible Blade, turning the fabric around his waist into a sword, but this freak defends it as well. Sagiri then shows up and tells Gabimaru that Genji has just died, but at the last minute revealed how he was wrong about her and apologized and blah blah blah. Well, it's not important. And with it, she just barely manages to cut off his pinky finger. Well, that's helpful, telling him that only by weaving through the gaps of the skeletal structure will you be able to cut someone in two. That's a fun bit of information to know. And they both quickly realize that the only way they can take this monster down is in one move. Gabimaru tells her that they need to bring him down to his knees so she can cut his head off, forcing her to focus on her inner powers. All the while as Gabimaru distracts the giant. They try this idea, but they aren't quick enough. Gabimaru then activates every single ninja trick in his book. The forest quickly starts to catch fire, and he starts coughing up blood. He's running out of time. Meanwhile, Yuzuria and Glasses Guy stop being useless and realize what these two are trying to do. By setting the forest on fire around them, smoke is going to be made, and this giant is going to breathe in a whole lot of it, which will eventually force him to run out of breath. Gabimaru then sees that his plan is working and says that with the heat around them, it will cause the smoke to rise first, and because of this, they'll be safer down on the ground. Okay, what these guys are up against is insane! He's big, he's strong, and he's freakishly fast when he shouldn't be. Let me explain. We're up against this guy, a huge beast who is 321 centimeters tall. Born with insane strength, he killed his entire village as a child just by playing with them, and then he started to munch on them. That's kinda nasty. Which means he grew up alone from a very young age most likely, but it makes me wonder, how did anybody capture him in the first place? Or think it was a good idea to send him on a mission when he can't even speak or even understand what's going on? And on top of that, this man clearly suffers from gigantism. The anime says, oh yeah, he's still human and nothing else applies, but if that's the case, it means we should be able to apply the standard rules of physics and human physiology to this guy. Here's what I mean. Just like the difference between a 6-foot man and a 60-foot giant, the giant in this example may be 100 times as strong as the man because he's freaking huge, but he will also likely be 1,000 times as heavy as the man. And that means the giant is going to be 1/10 as fast as the 6-foot man. He should not be able to move this fast at all. And even if he could through some, anime magic, Square Cube Law states that as an object's size increases, its volume increases faster than its surface area. Like Ant-Man, if he shrinks himself, his strength and durability increases. But if he grows too large, he would become weaker and more vulnerable to injury, because as his size increases, his volume would increase much faster than his strength, because as a giant, he would not actually be that strong. Assuming the Square Cube Law would apply in an anime, but clearly break that theory when he throws a freaking tree. If the Square Cube Law was not broken, it would mean that he's still human, and not some sort of mythical overpowered anime beast. And if I was gabimaru, I would literally just chill out and crack open a cold one and wait for this guy's giant legs to literally break apart at any time, because with his huge frame, literally should not be able to support his body. Quickly running out of breath, the giant finally drops to his knees. Gabimaru then rushes in and pins him down using the last bit of his strength. And then Sagiri finally slices through his vertebrae bone, cutting off his head and winning this terrifying deathmatch. Unable to celebrate their victory, Gabimaru takes Sagiri out of there before the forest burns them alive. Running away from the fires, they soon reach their teammates. But there's something else. This abandoned village. Or so they think. The village of Shinsenkyo. Glasses Guy thinks that this village is where the sages live. Mysterious people that use secret arts. Gabimaru then senses somebody watching them, and then catches them red-handed. It's a child! But then a monster rises up. This wooden creature. Basically a smaller version of Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. Gabimaru runs after the child, and tells his group to take care of this monster. They try to catch the girl, but she violently punches him in the stomach, causing him to bleed. Shocked, they realize she's not human. Pissed off, Gabimaru finally gets a hold of her and says they just want to find the elixir, and he needs to tell her now. But then she starts crying, confusing him. It's really annoying. Yuzuria and Glasses Guy catch up and say that they've taken down the monster, but then it speaks and begs them to give him back the mysterious child. Desperate, the wooden monster tells him that he'll show them around his village and tell them everything they want to know about the elixir, but not of his relationship with the girl. Cautiously accepting his offer, they give back the little girl and are led to the ghost village. The two introduce themselves as Hoki and Mei and mention that this place has been their home for over 1,000 years. And Hoki offers them a place to recharge, and he reveals this island for what it really is. Called Shinsenkyo, this island is also known as Kotaku, home of the terrifying gods. He confirms that there is an elixir on this island, and it is referred to as Tan. Drawing a map on this island, he says it's made up of 3 regions. One region holds the forest, and the beach is called Eishu. The second inner circle is called Hojo, with the elixir, aka Tan, being located in the centermost part of the island, in an area beyond the lethal fog in the Horai region. And the group is so freaking happy. They finally made it. They have a lead. And Gabimaru asks Hoki if he's seen the Tan with his own eyes, but the tree tells him that, oh, you'll find the Tan soon enough when you find them. And says once they meet a man named Lord Tensen, they will know how real the elixir really is. Upon hearing about Lord Tensen, the group pays attention even more, and Hoki tells them that this lord is part of a group of gods that run this island. Immortal beings, powerful and forever perfect. He warns this group that all of these monsters that they fought until now were known as Toshin, but Tensen is on a whole other level. Hoki then tells them something. He says, the only reason I invited you to this village, it's not out of kindness. Oh no, it's out of pity, because I know that soon all of you will die a gruesome death at the hands of these island gods. And the group gets nervous of what he says. And Hoki warns them about what's really going on. Every single group of humans that has ever reached the island has never left. Lord Tensen controls the Soshin, these monsters, and is known for punishing sinners and intruders, turning those enemies into beautiful flowers, and in doing so, releases them from sin and uncleanliness, and he helps them attain eternal bliss. At least that's what Hoki believes. And the life force that becomes a flower is the source of Tan, and all the beings on the island benefit from it, benefit from the death of humans. Sagiri asks why his kind has never tried to leave, but Hoki tells her that all they've ever wanted was to live on this island alone and in peace. And then he cuts the conversation short real quick and tells them to rest up for now. Going off to bathe, Gabimaru mentions to Sagiri that they still only have bits of pieces of information, and he still doesn't trust Hoki at all. That night, the group then decides to rest here and come up with a plan on how to find the elixir of immortality, but Gabimaru cannot wait any longer, and he ends up sneaking off like the little shit that he is to find the elixir without them, waiting for what seems to be hours. He crosses this fog and finally reaches the gates of Horai, home to the elixir and the terrifying gods that live within. But just then, something pops up behind him, scaring him. Surprised that something was able to sneak up on him, he sees this strange person, and the stranger asks Gabimaru nicely if he can run away quick. because he's too lazy to try and catch him. But Gabimaru doesn't listen and tries to attack him, and that was his biggest mistake. He quickly realizes that he's outmatched and is shocked at the monster in front of him, regenerating every injury, every wound, every cut with insane abilities and godlike speed. It's just as fast as he is. Gabimaru quickly realizes that this must be one of the masters of the island, one of the immortal gods. Standing in front of him, this creature comments that Gabimaru's body will make excellent tan. But Gabimaru realizes that this god's powers are very much so like Mei's. The two continue to go at it outside of the gates, unable to injure the god. Gabimaru quickly deploys ninja art fire monk skills against it and swiftly lands a few hits, finally overpowering Lord Tensen, and he demands to know where the elixir is. But the god laughs at him and transforms into something truly terrifying, a giant flower monster. The shockwave from the sudden transformation sends Gabimaru flying back and critically injuring him out of energy and out of moves. He uses one more ninja move, a move that was beat into him by the village chieftain, the warlord, his master from his village, that forces an unconscious ninja to use the remaining amount of his life force and channel it outward and set his whole body up in flames, burning Lord Tensen alive and taking it down with Gabimaru. About to die, Mei shows up out of nowhere. She followed him, and she grabs him and magically creates a force field around him and saves this ninja's life, and she gets them the hell out of there. Lord Tensen watches them leave in shock and wonders, what the hell is Mei doing? Meanwhile, the sun finally rises as Sagiri and crew try to figure out where Gabimaru went. But Hoki says he'll join them and take them to Hurai, since Mei is also missing and he thinks she stupidly followed Gabimaru. So he's going to join them to look for her. On the way, Sagiri's group also finds out who Lord Tensen is, known as the 7th Seinen. He is one of 7 immortals. According to the legend, Hoki says, a Seinen once climbed a mountain and became a god. He then split into 7, and each one of the 7 have the same appearance and voice, and only their personalities and roles differ. And these 7 rule the island. Hoki says this is all he knows, and the people in his village who lived here before were once human in appearance, but lived longer lifespans. But before they died, they transformed into tree-like structures, rooting down to the ground in hopes that their souls would be led into the Hurai kingdom. Hoki reveals that most of them have very little consciousness left and shows them his dead family, the Lord Tensen and his 7 personalities, the ones who enters Hurai. Elsewhere, Gabimaru finally wakes up and realizes that Mei saved his life, and he quickly realizes that he must kill the gods in order to get the elixir of life, but he cannot do it alone. And just then, some familiar faces passes him by. This guy, we'll call him Goatee Samurai, and this handler, Fuchi. They accidentally bumped into him and Mei, and they both cautiously figure out their next moves. Okay, we just barely survived this situation against the gods, but I did notice a few things that makes me think that we can actually defeat them. Let me explain. First off, Gabimaru, you're trying to fight monsters by yourself. That's really stupid. Your wife's not dead. You have food. There's literally no reason to rush in without knowing more about the situation, and it almost cost you your life. If I was him, I would count my many blessings and take to finding these two as a huge benefit to me, because up until now, due to the chaotic nature of how this team discovered more information about this island, made it clear that no one single character knew what was really going on. This puts us into a huge disadvantage, even if you didn't include how powerful these bad guys were. However, there's one thing that makes me think we do have a shot against them. It's noted that some of the attacks that we've dealt towards these bastards have shown to give stronger damage to these gods, despite their insane strength. Now, while we don't know why certain attacks damage them more than others, the fact is that we could damage them, and this means despite their insane powers, we can defeat them, and are capable of doing so at the very least, which means we could reverse engineer what we did. In any case, however, for now, I would not fight any more overpowered dudes, at least not till we meet back up with the rest of our group and any other prisoners that are still alive on this island. Group thinking, according to the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, has shown that group problem solving works best when tackling subjects within the fields of academics, business, science, and medicine, as bigger groups promote more big brain thinking. Basically, when you're in a group, you have more ideas. Him trying to figure things out by himself is not going to work as fast. Goatee Samurai and this little kid Fuchi tell him that they've been through hell to find the elixir. This guy even lost his hand to a bug. Fuchi tells everyone to chill though, and says that they should ask Gabimaru about his experiences so far, and where his escort Sagiri is, and who the heck is this girl behind him. Knowing he needs help, Gabimaru agrees to chill out and offers for them to work together, spilling the beans of what he's been through and who Lord Tensen is, and it's horrifying. But Goatee Samurai guy full of machismo decides to help, and reveals that he never wanted to be pardoned for his crimes. All he wanted was to become immortal through fame. He only wanted to discover the elixir. He doesn't actually want it for himself. And just then Mei wakes up, but she looks different from before. Shocking Gabimaru, now older. She's now gone from child to full-on waifu in 5 anime seconds. And they find out that she can now talk better. Well, that's helpful. And Gabimaru quickly asks her about Lord Tensen and her powers, and if she knows how to defeat him. And that's when she reveals how to take him down. She says that he controls a form of energy known as Tao, but technically anybody can learn it. And if you master it, you can achieve peak Tao and attain the powers and the body of a god. But the conversation is cut short when they're discovered by terrifying monsters. A goatee samurai guy says that, hey, they can practice trying to use Tao on them, with the help of Mei, of course. Mei watches the fight and critiques their powers and tells them they need to be weak, but strong and weak at the same time. And it's really confusing. All the while is Fuchi, that annoying little turd blossom, researches the monsters, finding out that they all have different weaknesses, and the biology changes with each monster, and it makes no sense. And they suspect that Mei might be the same. And that's when a seinen appears and tries to kidnap Mei. It tells him that he's been looking for her, and that he needs to go back with him to Harai, the same rank as Lord Tensen. The seinen tells humans that they should be ashamed for hanging out with her, as they are merely her food. And Gabimaru totally gets confused and realizes that he needs to figure out what exactly Mei really is and why is she helping him, because things are starting to get more suspicious. So he stands between them and her, tells the Seinen that she isn't going anywhere, and this pisses the monster off. And he warns them that he'll turn them all into tan. And that's when more of his minions appear, and they get ready to kill them all. The Seinen then reveals that Lady Mei is important to him and his kind for their Tao training. And he reveals what Tao really is before they die. He says there are 5 trainings in order to increase someone's Tao: Shuten, Shuitsu, Taisoku, and Douyin, with the last and most important training style called Botchu Jutsu. And this one requires a training partner, as both parties circulate their yin and yang by getting down and dirty. And by combining their nastiness, it will increase their overall Tao. This seinen says that Lord Tensen is one horny hound dog and has perfected Botchu Jutsu training, as he has both yin and yang circulating within himself. And this is why he can transform into both genders. However, people below him and regular people only possess one type of yin or yang. These seinens as males have yin energy, but they need Mei to perform Botchu Jutsu because they need to get some of her sweet yin energy. But it's all for training, of course, and shocks everybody here. From the same bloodline as Lord Tensen, but weaker, he states that she was forced to become their training partner in order to stay in Harai Kingdom, but unable to take it any longer, she disappears, and now they want her back. And this stuns Gabimaru to his core and is the last straw. He then unleashes his powers to a level that no one has ever seen before, not even him. Full of Tao, he creates this wall of fire in front of these monsters, blocking them and giving his group time to plan their next move. Fuchi quickly reveals that he finally figured out what Mei was trying to say earlier about using Tao. To control this power, strength and weakness must coexist in the mind. And Mei runs up to Gabimaru and instructs him to weaken his mind, slowing everything down. And that's when he finally sees the true powers of Tao. And that's when everything changes. He turns around and gets ready to fight these island gods and says that he got the gist, and Fuchi is stunned because he's like, that's not possible, but he doesn't listen. Gabimaru transforms into his final form and kills monster after monster with more ease than ever before. Watching him, Goatee Samurai thinks that his ninja training likely made him practice using something very similar to Tao before without even realizing it, especially since some of the members of his ninja clan are rumored to have supernatural powers. After killing all of the seinen, Gabimaru forces this doshi to give up and reveals important information about the island gods, saying that there are 3 doshi like him who were ordered to scout out this new batch of humans that arrived on the island, and this order was given by Lord Tensen, and his group could sense that there was something different about this latest arrival of humans. Trying to fool Gabimaru, Doshi tries to surprise kill him, but these 2 quickly slaughter him for good, and Gabimaru passes out. Waking up a little later, his group rests, and he goes into his own thoughts, and quickly begins to realize that his memories are slowly starting to disappear, and he's finding it hard to remember why he's here in the first place. And Mei then asks if he's alright. He tells her he's fine, but she sees the outline of his soul breaking apart right in front of her. Meanwhile, Sagiri's group continues to try to look for Gabimaru, but Glasses Guy thinks this place isn't the real Shinsen-kyo, and thinks this place has a fake religion that was created by humans, as some of what they've seen, other words, sitting in prayer, have been used in other religions. And just like those fish monsters they fought earlier, there seems to be no real logic to anything that's going on in the island, and they think they found their first real clue. They finally reach the gates of Harai and cautiously open this door to the home of the gods. But suddenly Hoki's head gets blown off by this strange man, and he collapses on the floor. The group stares in confusion, but Yuzuriya quickly realizes what's going on and tries to run away. But then the stranger catches her with superhuman speed. Still alive, Hoki reveals to the group what Yuzuriya could sense. They've run into a Tensen. Lord Tensen then reveals that he heard what Glasses Guy mentioned about the island and tells him that his theory is correct. They made up a religion on the island to help create order. He then tells Hoki that once Hoki dies, his soul and his family's souls aren't going anywhere. This island is one big experiment, and everything on here is a test subject. Shocking Hoki and the group. And that's when these weird corpses rise up from the dirt and grab on to Yuzuriya. These zombies were all once humans who came to the island and are now this guy's experiment. Not knowing what's true anymore, Glasses Guy nervously asks if the elixir is real, and Tensen smiles. He states that only good humans get made into Ten, and that, oh yeah, the elixir is real, but the elixir only works on the gods. Any humans who consumes it will simply turn into Hoki here and quickly die a painful death. Yuzuriya quickly uses this time to escape and swiftly cuts Lord Tensen's head clean off. Oh good, he's dead. They try to escape, but that's when Lord Tensen quickly regenerates and tries to recapture Yuzuriya. Curious, he asks her if she can use the powers of Tao herself, but she says in her training they call it Ki. Lord Tensen smiles and tells her that he'll teach her how to properly use it with some Bochu Jutsu. But she says, nah, and quickly consumes a special ninja potion, shooting and combining different types of ninja combinations, and uses all of her skills against Lord Tensen. Meanwhile, desperate Sagiri asks Hoki if the enemy has any weakness. She needs to know now, and he tells her to cut him down at the waist, because that is where his Tao resides. Hearing this, she charges at him and tries to cut him down, but he laughs and says that, well, sure, yeah, that's his weakness. She doesn't have any power to cut him down. But that's when she channels more of her powers and barely manages to give a small cut to Lord Tensen. But this time, everybody realizes something is different. He's not healing, shocking everybody here, starting to get the hang of it. Sagiri tells the group that she can now sense an aura around him, the same one she felt around Gabimaru, and knows she now has access to her Tao powers. Directing the group, they work together to try to pin him down. Purple-haired girl distracts him while Glasses Guy manages to sneak up behind him to grab him. Unable to move now, Sagiri quickly channels her samurai skills, and finally, after a long battle, strikes Lord Tensen down from his weak point, making him collapse instantly. Finally, he's dead, and they think it's over, and they decide to take a quick 5. But that's when they notice flowers beginning to grow all around them, and one of these vines shoots right at Yuzuriya. Glasses Guy quickly jumps in front of his wannabe bae and gets stabbed right in the chest, falling down to the floor, and they watch this flower disease begin to infect him. The whole ground around him begins to rumble. Bursting out from the floor, Lord Tensen rises up, but this time as a new monster, and he controls this army of vines, shooting down right at the group. But that's when they're saved by the baddest swordsman in the East, a man named Shio, and he shows up with this warrior as Narguai, one of the best executioners in Japan. He's blind and can sense everything around him just like Daredevil. He proves his worth against Lord Tensen, but gets cut by one of his flowers, and then sees horrifying flowers begin to grow on his skin. And Lord Tensen laughs and says that even just one cut from him, one scratch even, will result in him dying, and now he has no shot of defeating him. Seeing this from the distance, the girl and Sagiri think they have to help him. Sagiri says she's out of energy, so this girl hugs the shit out of her, and somehow she gains her energy back. But she tries this on Yuzuriya, and it doesn't work. Sagiri quickly suspects that it's possible that Tao can be shared between people. You know, Bochu Jutsu type stuff, but less sexual. Refreshed, Yuzuriya coats them in a ninja potion to protect them against Lord Tensen, and they rush over to help Shion, telling him the weakness in this monster is his stomach, his tandems, both of them. They lay out the game plan. They'll take the front and distract him while Shion sneaks up from behind and strikes both tandems at once, and they try out their plan, and Sagiri can now sense a Tao energy all around her. But they're running out of time. Lord Tensen laughs as he turns up his power level, and these two charge with the last bit of strength. Sagiri then holds down one of Lord Tensen's arms and calls out to Shion. He charges his sword and gets ready to strike, but then he realizes he doesn't feel any waves of Tao coming from the spot that they told him to. And just then, Glasses Guy, barely alive, calls out to him and reveals that as a flower, his tandem is in a different spot. This one right here, where a flower collects its nutrients, and he charges up his powers and strikes down hard, sending this lord to his deathbed once and for all. After, Shion and Glasses Guy are about to die, but Yuzuriya reveals that she only has enough life-saving power potion for one of them. So they screw over Glasses Guy and give it to Shion, and this wannabe lover boy creep kicks the bucket. With one more death on their hands, Sagiri vows to not let anyone else die around here, and vows to get everyone off this island no matter what it takes. Heading deeper into the Harai temple, they rest up here, and Shion tells Sagiri they now know that Tao is a life force within anybody, that anyone can use it if they learn its power. However, he suspects that using it too much will begin to harm the body or the spirit in various ways, from someone's memory to their consciousness. Sagiri then also mentions that Gabimaru said that the elixir existed, and he says that his village chief was immortal, therefore it must exist somewhere. However, Yuzuriya then chimes in and says that what Gabimaru saw could have been an illusion, a magic ninjas use to show little kids and to fool subordinates. Thinking the village chief was immortal would have made them never try to oppose his rule, and since Gabimaru grew up among his ninja clan, there was a chance that what he saw was not real. Yuzuriya says that her ninja clan does the exact same thing to everyone, including her, and thinks something else might be going on with Gabimaru. Sagiri's eyes widen as she listens. Gabimaru is still a teenager, meaning it's very unlikely that as a ninja, he would be married so young in the first place, and thinks that in order to make Gabimaru a better soldier, somebody planted him with fake memories of a wife in order to make him more motivated to follow orders, and from that, they're able to use him. They're able to motivate him to find the elixir and return back with it. Sagiri, now in shock, tells Yuzuriya to stop talking, but she keeps on poking holes in Gabimaru's story, asking if anyone has ever seen his wife, verified his claims, or even know the name of his wife that he's mentioned a dozen times before. But what do you guys think about the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a thumbs up down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Beat playlist.